Good afternoon, everyone. Right, are you the right way around? Yeah, I think so. Right, I'm just going to get my tablet set up so I can see the comments. So, Tracy, I knew it was coming. You know, I only have myself to blame. There's nothing I can, you know, set me a challenge. And I knew because of my, what was the words I was using? Flexing the parameters of my last challenge. I knew this one I was going to be punished quite greatly. So, I am not allowed to use a white pen. I know, a challenge in itself. However, that's not where it stops. Okay, I also have to use a Toblerone tube. A Toblerone tube. That's what I have to use. Okay, now obviously, the benefits of having to use a Toblerone tube is you get the Toblerone at the inside. Now, the reason I have been given a Toblerone, in case you're unfamiliar, is according to my sister, I say it really funny. Toblerone. Now, obviously in my head that sounds fine, but if it sounds funny to you, I'm glad it's giving you a giggle. Okay. Right. So I'm going to open the Toblerone. Okay. Like I say, you know, in terms of a challenge, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. On the bright side, I have a Toblerone. So, you know, that's what I'm going to go and cry into later when I can't do this. Right, so my idea is, the plan is quite loosely thinking, and I'll be honest, I've been staring at it for the past hour trying to come up with a plan. So I'm thinking something like a little box to keep your fine liners in. That would be quite cool because it's actually really rigid. You know, a triangle is technically the stronger shape, isn't it? So it's really rigid. Put the chocolate down. Now here you go, Tracy. You see, you can't come in here, tell me I'm to use a Toblerone box and then say I can't have the chocolate. That's just rude. I might just sit here for the next hour and eat it. An hour. Like it'd take me that long. Right. Anyway, so I'm going to go on. So I am going to collage the Toblerone box. Now, I have a book here. This is The Complete Works of William Shakespeare that I got from a charity shop ages and ages and ages ago. Now, before I do this, I need to make one thing very clear. I adore books. I think books are a privilege and I think you should look after them. They are, do you know what I mean? For example, I always wanted, I'm going to go off piste a little bit here. I always wanted a ledger to art journal in, and I found this one a couple of years ago. And it's really old. It's also upside down. And it's really old. The entries in it are from like 100 years ago, 1921. And because of that, it has never had so much as a blending tool put on it. So I look for these things and I refuse to use them. But I am also friends with people that work in charity shops and whatever. So if they get books in that are damaged, missing pages, all that sort of thing, I go and get them and donate to the charity. So it means you can relatively guilt-free use the pages of the book. But I do like to things like Shakespeare and whatever, because obviously some books you do have to be careful of sweary words, and obviously I do not do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to rip out a couple of pages. We'll go for the Tempest, one of them, not that it matters. And where can we go? Where can we go? Oh, we'll have a bit of Hamlet. Okay. So we're going to take those out. So this is a book I use all the time. So if you see text pages on any of my journals or whatever, 9 times out of 10 it's that book, because there's that many pages in it. I've been using it for about a year. It hasn't. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it to the Toblerone box using distressed collage mediums. Now, I've got these little tubs and they're wicked because it means you get to play with the little ones without having to buy the big ones. So I'm going to use the matte medium, which is excellent stuff. Now, I actually went to a workshop with Tim Holtz using this stuff a few years ago. Now, if you're using, I use, as you know, most crafters now, we have restricted our use of baby wipes. We try not to use them. But if you are using your mediums, like your crazing medium or your vintage collage mediums, okay, I do always have some baby wipes on hand. And the reason for that is, if you are working on something, a project, and you're going to be going back and forth to your brushes, wrap it in a baby wipe, and it'll stop it drying out with the medium on it. Didn't turn the sounds off on my phone, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm just going to go around with my collage medium, and I'm going to put some on the top as well. Fold that one over. Okay, so none of the shops you ever had. Is that the books? Honestly, it's all about who you know, not what you know. Right, so I'm just going to grab some scissors and we're going to cut that off. You could just rip it if you wanted to. I'm just going to add a bit more. Stick that one down. I was going to go on with some tissue paper and some washi tape I've got, but the colour of the box is just too strong. It doesn't cover it. Okay. Now you can still see it a little bit through, but we're not finished, so it's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to go on with my collage medium and put that down. We are going to have to obviously go over the ends. So, I mean, can you imagine that? A challenge using a Toblerone box? I'm telling you, that Tracy, she has a dark side. Right, I'm just going to fold that down. This isn't something I do a massive amount of, so if you can tell I'm doing it wrong, sorry about that. But here we are. Alright, so I'm going to start again and go over here. I'm going to use this one and fold it over. So the thing is, you know, tissue paper is great, and washi tape is fantastic. We've actually got some new ones coming, but it's, you know, if you're covering something that's quite a strong colour and you don't want to see it, you do need something a little bit thicker. Let's put that on there. I'll rip one of these. Okay. I shouldn't have been naughty on my last challenge. It was a few white pen dots. I mean, really, woman. Okay. I'm just gonna go on. I'm gonna be well sticky after this. I'm gonna need my Toblerone. I'm going to say, as challenges go though, not bad. I mean, because Charmaine had to deal with string and she didn't have chocolate to eat after. So it's all fine. And then put this on here. So yeah, I'm just putting on, I'm using the Tim Holtz collage mediums, but I know there's a few different ones out and about. It's just using whichever one you like, really. Here we go. So, are you all having a nice Wednesday? Do you want to have to think about it then? What day is it? Today's the 14th of some day. And that's pretty much it. Because it doesn't really matter. That's why it's brilliant when Tracy puts on in the morning. You know, this is who we've got on today. It's not just for you guys watching, you know. It's for us too. So that we can go, oh yeah, that's today. Not because we forget that we're doing it, we just forget what the day is. Okay, so you can see, that's coming together alright, isn't it? The weird thing is, I thought this would be quicker than gessoing it. I may have been wrong, but it's okay because I'm going to collage over the top. So you can see it just covers it. Brill. So if we're just going to go on so we can cover all the bits, all the yellow, the yellow, cream. Obviously this is going to reinforce it as well. So I'm just going to keep on. I'm going to rip a few more bits of this up. White pens and papers and gesso, and lots were added. I didn't add papers. That Charmaine did. Or a gesso. I added papers. That were it. No, I didn't. Sorry, white pen. I did put ribbon on my tags. Does that count? Right. Anyway, this is my current foe, this challenge. So we'll just carry on with this one. Just add on. But I think this would be a wicked box to put like fine liners and stuff in. Really, really cool. It's only when you start looking at it because somebody's major. You're like, oh, that'll be good for that. Okay. So here we go. We're just going to get this covered. And then we're going to do some stamping and painting onto tissue paper. And then that's going to collage on top. Okay. Like I say, I have never done anything really like this before. My collage mediums are relatively underutilised, shall we say. But that there Tracy. So one could say it's quite good actually, because she's making me use something that's been sat there, apart from the Toblerone. I had to get that. So we're just going to go over. Now the nice thing is you can add in as much of the paper as you want. You can also then sort of go over it with the vintage if you wanted to keep it quite rusticy. Not rusticy. Like you could do it in a steampunk way and add on the vintage one over the top, because it's sort of translucent but it just gives a sepia tone, which is rather funky. Here we go. So just make sure it's all stuck down. And I'm using a matte medium, so it's not going to be glossy when it's finished. It will still be quite matte. So, right. So I'm thinking that is pretty wicked. Toblerone Tube. I'm actually going to snip. There's no way I can cover that little tab. Right, so I'm just going to snip that off. There is limits, but you've still got an open there. You could slide pens in. Pen box. Awesome. Right. So like I was saying, Mr. Tim of the Holtz, I don't use wipes anymore. I always use microfibers, or if I have to use something, I'll use kitchen roll because it's just paper. But with this, okay, because I want to use my brush later with more collage medium, this is just a wet face wipe. Okay, I'm just going to roll my brush up in there. That'll stop the collage medium drying out. It also smells nice of cucumber because it's a face wipe. And then I can go straight back to my collage medium later without having to redo that. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to the side. I'm going to put that to the side. Now, what I've done is I have stuck a piece of tissue paper to my non-stick craft sheet, just using a little bit of washi tape in the corners. Okay, and who ate the chocolate? I haven't yet, my darling. I literally opened it. It's right here. and I'm going to stamp the doodler sunflower straight on top. Okay, and then we're going to paint it, and then we're going to collage that on top. Okay, so I'm going to do this here. Yeah, so I've just stuck it down with a little bit of washi tape in the corners, just to hold it a bit flat, because you know your tissue paper is usually folded or rolled or something like that, and that does not make it easy to stamp on all the time. So I'm just going to stamp that onto there, just pushing little flicks just to make sure the middle of me sunflower comes out. Lovely, lovely. Right, and now I'm going to paint it. I'm going to use, sorry for reaching across, I'm going to use my Inktense to paint it, and I'm just gonna, I've realised I forgot to pick up some water. Bear with. Ooh. Here we go. I'm back. With my painting mug. Yeah, so I'm going to paint that with my Inktense to put that over there actually. So I'm actually going to give that a quick waft with my heat tool, just to make sure the VersaFine is totally dry. I know you love the sunflower, darling. See, that proves I'm not really angry with you, because I know you like the sunflower, and that's the one I chose to use. Okay. So I need a little brush. A little brush. Here we go. Right. I'm going to use my Inktense. So we're just going to go in with my yellow on here. Just to go in. What I love about this stamp is it's so easy to colour. It looks like it's got loads of detail, but also I will say it's really easy to cut out. That's what I love. But I think sunflowers, they're just so happy. They just, you know what I mean? They're bright and happy. Happy, happy sunflower. So I'm just going to go around and add in my Inktense on here. As you can see, I mean, you can do quite a few petals before you have to re-ink as well, because the colour's so intense. Right, so and then I'm going to go in with some of my orange to do the behind petals. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a few petals, and then as the ink starts to blend out, right, I'm going to add in a little bit to the bottom of the yellow ones. I don't want it too intense, so it's just to add a little bit of shading into there. So that's a good way of doing it. So put your orange in, and as you can see it start to almost thin out and weaken, which I've put quite a lot on this point, so it doesn't seem to be doing. Okay, I haven't re-inked it from here. Right, then we're just going to go in and add a little bit into the bottom of here. You can always just whiz round if you want to. I can't believe I can't use a white pen. I would usually add in white dots to my sunflower, but I shan't. I shan't break the rules. Heaven forbid. Right, and then I'm going to go back to my yellow to do the middle of here, and then a little bit of orange, That's a bit brighter than I intended. And then this sort of light brown I'm going to use to drag it out. So yeah, I'm just working on some tissue paper that I've stuck down. Now what I mainly stamp on tissue paper for before, what I have mainly stamped on tissue paper before, sorry, is to go onto candles. Because I love that technique. It's great for Christmas presents and stuff. Okie dokie. Use white paint with a tiny ball to make the dots. Do you see, Tracy? I am trying to be led astray and I am trying to be good. I mean, got no hope, have I? I'm just going to go around here. And then a little more with this one. And around here. Now we can start adding in some of that green. Okay. So I'm going to go with this quite bluey green as I see it. Around the outside of the leaves. And then I'm going to go back in with a more citrus into there. And the same thing again, but I'll do the citrus first because that's on my brush. And then go back out with the bluey one. It's nice weather again today, isn't it? The sun seems to have remembered where we are. So that's nice. I'm going to leave the stem. I think I'm going to leave the stem. Right. Now what I'm going to do, while that's drying, is I'm going to add in some more of the elements, because this has got a few different elements on the stamp sheet. Okay, so I'm going to grab some of these leaves. We're going to stamp them all around, I think. A squeaky check. And then colour those too, because I think that'll look really pretty. So, let's get these on. Where's my versify? Okay. So we've got just a few of these leaves we're just going to put on. Okay, and then this one. And then put a couple of these ones in.
You said we had no.
And then I'm just going to give that another waft with the heat tool before I colour those in. Okay. So yeah, if you were working on, you could do this and then layer it into a candle. That's something I'll show you a different time if you want. I have got a video of it somewhere, but I don't mind coming in the group and doing another one. See, it does go through, so just gonna give that a little bit of a dry. Right, so then we're going to go in and add in some more green into our leaves. You see that one, I did too much water, so it's just splurged out. Sure, there is a chance I will cut that one off. So we're just going to add those in. Here we go. Turn brush. And add in a bit more. Oh, I didn't do the middle of that one, so that one can be darker. A little bit more shading around some of these. You see, it's just so easy because it just blends so beautifully. You know what this needs? Right. Also, it's fallen off and I put it down. In this, with this stamp, is this, right? And it's paint spatter. It's just random dots. Okay? So what I'm going to do, using some of my little archival blocks that I've got, just move my paints out of the way. Don't know what I did with the lid. Okay, so using some of my little archival blocks that I've got in different colours, I'm going to add in some paint spatter. But because I worry about adding too much water when I'm doing the tissue paper, I don't really like splatting it with actual paint, whereas or watered down ink tints. So with this, I can add on paint spatter with just the dots, which is brilliant. Okay. Add on some blue spots, paint spatter. Excellent. And also I sometimes worry about blending on it and ripping the paper, because I'm quite abrasive with my blending. If you haven't, you know, if you're a more gentle blender, if you're a gentle blender, you know, give it a whirl. I am not, so I won't. Okay. We're going to add some paint spats in and around. Marble. I think that'll do. Otherwise I'll run the risk of going too far, and you know we don't do that with me anyway. Never. Right, so let me put my stamps, these little stamps, back over here, otherwise I'll forget where I've put them. Alrighty, so I think that will just about do. So now if you look on the reverse of your tissue paper, you can actually decide which way to stick it down, because the VersaFine comes through because the oil based in it, but the Inktense is that rich. If you feel it's tidier and more blended on the reverse, you can use that. Okay, so you really do have, there was a candle, I've got one here, so this is similar, you know, stamping on here, and I think when I put it on, I did do it reverse side out, so this was just with tissue paper. Right, basically tissue paper is excellent to stamp on if you're going on stuff that's an awkward shape. So I'm just going to take my washi tape off. Okay. Okay. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to stick this onto our Toblerone tube. Okay. And that'll meet at the back. Now, I won't say I measured it because that implies I actually used some sort of thing, but I did wrap tissue around and then just snip it to an ish. Okay, so we'll go back to our collage brush, which is still nice and soft because, you know. But what I'm also going to do is I'm not just going to use the matte medium. I'm also going to use the crazing medium to go over the top because you know when on really old pottery where you get those really tiny fine cracks underneath the top layer of glaze, that's crazing. So these, it's not a crackle medium, it's crazing, and it gives these really sort of tiny, fine lines. So I'm going to go over it with that one. Right, so I'm going to put matte medium all over the tube to stick it on. You can do this with your crazing medium, but in all honesty, I know that when I replace my tubs of these, I'll replace the matte medium with a big tub. So it's almost like I don't mind getting to the bottom of that one quicker. That's just, whereas the crazing medium, you know, I would have to really go some to use a full big tub of that. So that's why I like having the little ones. And they come in a set, all three together. Right. I'm just going to put that on there just a second, and then I'm going to sit this on here, and we're going to be able to see, don't worry if there's a few crinkles, and just, you know, thing is, we're going to be able to see the text come through from the underneath. Okay, so like I said, don't worry about if there's a few crinkles, it's, you know, I am absolutely blooming loving this, I can't even lie. Right, so we'll put that all over there, and now I'm going to go over with my crazing medium. Now what I will do is I'll come back on with some close-up pictures of it when it's dried, because you won't be able to see the crazing straight away. I'm going to go in and just go straight over with my crazing medium, because I can't wait to see this all with those little sort of fine hair like cracks on it. It is like any sort of crackle though, you will get bigger ones if you do it thicker, but they're never going to be as thick as a crackle glaze. Okay. I'm just going to tuck those ends in. Okay. Crazing. No, it's crazing. It's to create the really, really small. Not crazy. Crazing. Oh, can we see that? There you go. To create those really sort of fine hairline cracks. And I'm going to put some across the top as well, so that gets it. Doesn't take that long to dry, and obviously it's quite warm today, so what I'll do is I'll stick it outside, not on the table, because the dog lies on the table and God knows what will happen. And then I'm going to put that on there. Now I am going to, she says, no I'm not, I almost feel like I want to rest it on something. I should have just done the first two sides first. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got some bulldog clips. The magnetic ones I use for keeping me journal open when I'm working in it. So I'll just put it on there. That's better. Now I'm going to wrap that back in there until I can get out to get it dry. Clean and dry. Okie dokie. So I think that's about it. I am going to trim up and tidy up around here a little bit, and I might put a piece of metalwork or an MDF embellishment on the top, but I haven't decided yet. No, I'm not going to do that, because I found the other day some shrink plastic. I'm going to make a shrink plastic sunflower to go on the top. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't know where my stays on is, so I can't stamp onto for shrink plastic right now. But I have to say, I think it's an exceedingly pretty Toblerone tube. and I'm really, really happy with it. And I behaved and didn't put white pen on. Just, you know, didn't put white pen on. But you can see, if you're covering something awkward. Now, a lovely lady we know called Elisa, she never ever stamps on something awkward. She always stamps on tissue paper and layers it on. You know, even if it's like a flat MDF tag, obviously, even as much as you try, the surface could be slightly uneven. So Elisa always stamps on tissue paper, creates her backgrounds and whatever, and then puts it on top. Jane on our DT, she made a lovely journal layout the other day where I think she'd stamped the tree on tissue paper. So it's a great technique. For example, I have loads of tags with texture paste on them where I've been demoing on her Chanda, or it showing people, you know, putting paste through the inkables and things like that, which means I have a lot of uneven surfaces. So if I wanted to have a stamp go over the top of that on the tissue paper, it would be a great way to do that. So like I said, I'll take some close-up pictures when it's dry and the craisins come out. And I'll try and do a shrink plastic thingy for the top. And yeah, so that would be a wicked pot to keep your fine liners in, your white pens. Oh, but quickly, just before I go, she did rumble me with the Toblerone. Yes, Sam, technically this is your fault. Before I go, because Tracy wouldn't let me use a white pen, I do just quickly want to show you. I've been restocking my prep boards, and I will do some videos on this. But I've been restocking my prep boards. So that is the sunflower head there, with some white pen highlights on it. But I didn't do that in the live, so technically I still completed my challenge without breaking any rules. But yeah, so sorry guys, if you have just tuned in, underneath the sunflower we did put book pages over the tube with some matte medium, so you can see that. So yeah, thank you very, very much for joining me. That was more fun than I thought it was going to be, because honestly, 10 o'clock this morning I was like, how the flippin' heck am I going to do this? Then it all came to me, so it's absolutely fine. So thank you very much, everybody. It looks like I've got my camera on some sort of weird... Sorry, I've just stood up to check. I do not say it like that. Right, guys, so also, if you have just tuned in, I did say this at the beginning. The reason it's a Toblerone tube is because apparently I say Toblerone funny. Now, in my head, when I can hear myself, it is like I'm just saying Toblerone like they would on a Toblerone advert. But apparently I say Toblerone really, really funny. So if I do say Toblerone really, really funny, I do hope you love it. And it's made you laugh and made you smile. So, there you go. Show my board again. Okay, let me move this to the side. Then. Show my board. That is my board. Okay, so basically what it is, I make prep boards so that if I'm crafting... Shall I give you a sneaky peek at a journal page I did yesterday that I haven't put anywhere yet? You can have a look at it though, because I trust yous. Right, so I will stamp and cut out, and just stamp, paint, cut out, add on glossy accents if I want to. All my different elements, and I'll make a prep board. Okay, so what it means is if I'm then crafting and doing another project or whatever, and I want something to finish it, like a glossy accented dragonfly, you know, with all the things done, I haven't got to wait for that to dry. I can finish the project straight away. So for example, yesterday I was doing a little page in my mini journal. It's just a little Moleskine journal that I got from TK Maxx. So for example, my butterflies were ready because they were on the board. So in order to finish my page, you know what I mean, they were done and cut out and whatever. So although it seems time consuming, it actually saves you time when your mojo's there. So if you haven't got you know, I know a lot of people at the minute are struggling for mojo. They just can't get going in their craft area, in their craft space, whatever. Make a prep board, because at least then you're creating, and it might bring you up with an idea. I also do have a sentiments one as well, but I've started cutting out, but I haven't stuck any down. So because this is quite run down, this is all I've got. So I do a sentiments one too, so that if I'm crafting and I want a sentiment, it's already cut out on foam, ready to go. Okay, and it's honestly, it is a great thing because it gets you crafting if you're not sure what to make. But it also means is once you are in that groove and you're making something and you want to get projects completed, you can quite quickly. Right. And there we go. I think I've taken up enough of your time for one day. Yeah, so I will come back on later with some pictures of the crazing on the Toblerone Tube. I am really pleased with that though. I think that looks really awesome. Okay guys, thank you very much and have an excellent rest of your day.